All right, cool. So I'll start with a quick introduction. My name is John Coughlin. I'm on the community relations team at GitLab. I would love if folks can turn their cameras on. Not a requirement, but it's always cool for folks to be able to see each other and kind of get more of like that in-person feel. So thank you for that. If you got your camera on, but no hard feelings. Don't worry about it. If you're not comfortable, that's fine. I wanted to, just kind of say thank you for taking some time to join us today. We did a remote meetup last week, and Vladimir, reached out and was interested in doing one that was like more for our community members in APAC time zones. It can be hard to find a time that works for both, like Europe and the APAC area. So this is, more of an APAC friendly time. I'm in New York, so it's actually like evening here at 7 o'clock. So you might hear my kids like scurrying around trying to get ready for bed. Apologies in advance for that. And yeah, we're doing these remote meetups, obviously because of what's going on in the world right now. And so I just, want to say, hope all of you are, being safe and taking care of yourselves and your neighbors. And, I wish you all the best as we go through this, kind of tough time together. But it's great to, have opportunities like this where you can get together with other folks and just get your mind off of, things that are going, on around us. So, I'm excited for this session tonight. So for folks that are kind of new to GitLab, I just wanted to give like a 30-second overview. GitLab is like a complete DevOps platform delivered as a single application. So there's one interface, one set of permissions, one place where all your conversations are happening as a team. We have, thousands of amazing features. I've been working at GitLab for over a year and still, find cool new things that the product can do myself all the time. And so I'd encourage you to, if you haven't checked us out too much, sign up, sign up for our free trial and take a look around. I think you'll be really surprised at all the great things that GitLab can do for yourself, whether you're, just working on, some side projects or if you're part of a team. I think there's something there for everybody. For other cool things about GitLab, we're the largest all remote company in the world. So if you've, recently started working at home, and this is kind of like, a time where you're learning how to do that, I would encourage you to check out some of the resources on our website. If you go to about.gitlab.com, we just published an ebook that has lots of great materials. And if you, do a Google search for GitLab, remote working, you'll be able to find everything, whether you're, looking to learn how to, optimize your home office or, how to manage teams remotely, do interviews remotely. There's lots of cool information there too. And, another thing that I just wanted to point out about GitLab, as I mentioned, like if you search Google, you'll find our handbook. Everything that we do at GitLab is extremely transparent. It's one of the things that attracted me to the company. And it's one of the things that draws a lot of people into our community. So if you go and, search for our handbook, you'll be able to find everything about our roadmaps, our strategy, how our CEO likes to run his meetings, some of his, kind of like his behaviors. He has his own personal README up there, and lots of other cool information. So definitely encourage you to check that out. And yeah, one more point before we get to the agenda and everything. These remote meetups are kind of like a new thing for us, and I'm excited about the opportunities that they present. I think it's cool to be able to bring our global community. I'm seeing folks from different parts of Australia, folks from Europe, folks from all different countries, and so it's great to have you all here and connected. And at the end of this, we'll have some time for conversation so people can get to know each other a little bit, and we can learn what's attracted all of you to kind of participate today. So I hope you'll stick around for that because I'd really like to get to know some of you better. So the presentation tonight is going to be by Vladimir. So thanks for that, Vlad. He's a software architect from Tomato Elephant Studio, which is doing some amazing things. And they're GitLab users, which is really cool. And he's going to walk us through GitLab Issue Boards. So this is a great kind of session for a lot of folks because I think GitLab is really known for our source code management tools and our CI. But this is another kind of amazing like feature set that we have created for our users. And I'm excited to hear what Vlad has to say about that. And one final note, Vlad's also a GitLab hero. Those are folks that we recognize for making outstanding contributions to our community. So I just wanted to say thank you, Vlad, for continuing to do that by, giving us some of your time and expertise tonight. So with that said, I'll throw it over to you. After the presentation, we'll do some, kind of Q&A, and then we'll, just break out into smaller groups for just some casual conversation. And if folks have questions, in real time, feel free to use the chat function, and I'll try and keep an eye on that. And that way we can, either interrupt Vlad, sorry, bud, or we'll just keep him there and save him until the end, depending on how he's rolling. So with that, Vlad, over to you.
Thanks, John. I'll just try to share my screen. Okay. Good morning, Australia, and hello, everyone in the world. Thanks for joining us. This is the first time I'm doing the meetup. I'm presenting a meetup at 9 a.m. in the morning. So today we're going to talk about GitLab Issue Boards. So thanks, John, for the introduction. He pretty much covered everything. I'm based in Australia. I'm architect and a developer and GitLab hero. I'm also open source evangelist, and I'm very passionate about a few open source projects, including GitLab, Drupal, Bootstrap, and Docker. So today we're going to cover a few things. Obviously, the topic is GitLab boards, so we're going to cover them, but we're also going to cover some other GitLab features like milestones, labels, how we can use the boards, and also show you some tips and tricks that I kind of pick up over the years working with GitLab and GitLab boards. So a few disclaimers. First and foremost, we were talking in a GitLab here chat, and quite a few people said that we need something less technical. If you look at the GitLab demos, obviously you'll see there's a lot of technical material out there, but because as GitLab is a full-on DevOps kind of application there, obviously we need some linking tools to connect to the other team members, be the business analysts, project managers. So I thought it would be a good introduction and gentle introduction, short and sweet, to kind of less technical features, but also I'm sure some of you who work with GitLab will pick up something from it as well. Most of my presentations I do about GitLab, I say they are about 90–95% cover free features. So if you don't know about GitLab model, there is actually free and paid features, and free features are open source. So I'm mostly covering them, but I would mention actually paid features here and there, but it's up to you to actually go and check them out. And if you have an opportunity, please do support GitLab either contributing the code or just become a paid member if you like the features, because I guess more of us will support GitLab, more great features we're gonna have in the near future. So I'll tell you a little story about the board. So this is how GitLab board look. And if you haven't seen the boards before, that might look a bit overwhelming. So there's a lot of colors, a lot of things. But if you join any software project, you probably see something like that. So, or maybe something like that. There are a number of tools around the world that actually give you an opportunity to create the tasks, put them in some sort of a board, depending on which methodology you're running, and put together a project and actually complete it. And in fact, before I was introduced to GitLab boards or GitLab, I worked with a number of products. Some of them were great, some of them were not so great. But what actually surprised me, I guess the feature number one that surprised me about GitLab boards is that how tightly integrated they were within the code and within the development features. So with a lot of other very popular projects, they usually don't do technical stuff, they don't do the code. And I think that's where the missing link was, and GitLab nailed it quite well. And that's why every time I start the project, if the client is not using a tool, project management tool, or even if they use something for a very long time, I do a quick introduction to GitLab. You get, depending on who you're talking to, you get a mixed reaction. Some people say it's too simple. Some people say, I've already used the tool and it has so many great features, why would I use something different? So today is kind of, again, gentle introduction on what you can do and how you can use GitLab Boards in terms of your project. So from here on, I'll just be presenting the demo. If you haven't seen the GitLab interface before, on the left-hand side, you have an issues section, and this is where we're going to pretty much stick towards the, till the end of the presentation. So the first thing you have is a milestones. And I already created one milestone. It's called version 0.1, so it's kind of easy. You can go and explore it. At the moment, you can see there's only one issue actually being added to this particular milestone. We're going to add more to them, but it's quite easy to create a milestone. So you can see I call the version 0.1, so something like minimal viable product. If I want to do a first full release to a client, maybe as a second sprint, I would go and add a new milestone and call it version 1.0. You can select the specific date. So if I select, for example, 15th of April to 28th of April, the second sprint, call it the second sprint. There we go. I would be able to see my second milestone. So from here, if I look at my milestone, I have one that is actually current, and you can see there is one that is coming. So I already created the number of issues here, and let's say I want to put all issues related to menu items to the particular milestone. So I'm going to click Edit Issues, find my menu related items here. Select particular milestone on the right. Click here, update all. Go back to my milestones. And you can see it says at the moment, now I have 4 issues that are in milestone version 1. So then start, open, and unassigned. So I took my 4 specific issues, and put them in a specific milestone. Now let me introduce you to the project. So the project is actually built in the furniture catalog. So if you're a bit confused, then just see me clicking around the screen. So what we're trying to do, I created the 20 issues to replicate, the furniture website where you can go and browse furniture catalog. So at the moment, I just moved the 4 menus I wanted to create to version 1.0, but we're going to stick with version 0.1, which is basically creating default structure and pushing the website. So this is milestones. So the next thing before we'll jump to the issues and the boards are labels. Again, quick introduction to labels. You already can see I have a number of labels here, but when you create a new project, when you start a new project, if you don't know what labels you create, GitLab would actually give you an opportunity to create the default labels. So here you can see I have a purple category, which covers backend development, configuration, DevOps. If I want to add something like a front-end development, I can create a new label here. So the same color. So now you can see I added front-end development to my configuration and DevOps. You can also see there is a yellow category which covers data entry, data structure, documentation. Blue category which says which stage the current issue is. And I also left 3 red categories, which are actually came from a default list that GitLab would recommend you if you create the default labels. So again, nice and simple. What you can also do, you can star specific entries. So for example, if we'll start DevOps here, prioritize, it would move to priority list. So you can actually have prioritized labels and less prioritized labels. I'll just keep them in the other labels section, all of them at the moment. So finally, we can move to actually creating a new issue. So when I click Issues List, you can see all my 20 issues were created here. And some of the issues are actually added to milestones, which can be, again, your sprints. You can see they already say, oh, it's in the upcoming sprint. So from this particular list, you can actually sort issues by specific categories. So author, assignee, milestone, release label, and so on and so forth. But you can also create a new issue. So add website domain, something that I haven't created before. So we can actually, instead of describing something like what domain is, so if I want to add furniture.com domain, some simple description. You can also do a few items here, including a checklist, which I really like. So you can say I can purchase a domain. Add domain to hosting provider. Maybe even buy SSL certificate or something like that. Again, I'll leave everything else in touch at the moment and submit an issue. So once we create our issue, you can see it's nice and simple. It has 3 checkboxes. So let's say I already purchased the domain. So I ticked off one thing. So I got 1 of 3 items actually ready. If you look at the items in the list category here, so our issue number 21, which is add website domain, it will actually tell you. So 1 of 3 tasks are actually completed. So one neat feature, which is kind of hidden at the moment, and it used to be paid feature as well, on the bottom of your issues list, there's a link called email new issue to the project. This is a specific link. You can actually click on it. It will provide you the unique email, and you can give it to your client, and your client can start creating tasks via email, which is quite handy. I mean, for some clients who actually know what they're doing. Or you can actually give it to a developer. So if someone is more used to creating issues from email or want to write a quick email, you can do that by clicking email new issue to the project. Okay, so let's go to our issue and set the few things here, and then we'll actually move to the board. So you can see I can assign this particular issue to myself, or I can choose other people who can be on this project. So on this particular project, there are 2 developers, so I can assign it to myself, to Jana. I can edit the milestone here. So I definitely want it to be done for version 0.1. I can do a time tracking, due date, and label. So I'm not going to enter a due date because I already have a milestone, but you can imagine if you're not running a project of milestone, which is a lot of small projects wouldn't be actually using them, you can go and change a due date, set a specific due date. I actually have SSL renewal certificates for some of the clients who actually don't have automatic renewal or who rely on the manual renewal. Just I would go and set up a specific date, and it would warn me maybe something like 10 days before the SSL renewal. So that's one of the use cases you can do for a due date. It remind you a week or two in advance if you need to do something. Again, labels, we already look at the labels. So one of the tags I have is DevOps, and I already start working on it. So I also add in dev here. So I added 2 labels. When you click off the labels, it will save the labels. And you can also switch off notifications if you don't want notifications for this specific issue for yourself. The good thing about having the notifications when if you tagged inside the issue or if you tagged as actually assignee, you'll get an email once you mentioned or once the issue has been updated. So you can actually click the reply to the email and your reply would appear on the bottom here, which is another excellent feature. And a lot of clients like that as well. So they can actually reply to the email and give you a bit more details or answer your questions. Keep in mind, GitLab has restrictions on the size of the images. So if you email in something very large, like large PDF or something, it might not necessarily be attached to the issue. So that's one of the caveats, but all the text is here from the email. So you can actually, have a nice conversation here. So finally, the boards. So look at the issues. Right, finally, we can go and start. We can add the boards. So you can see the first board I opened was just a development board. Again, GitLab will give you, if you don't know what to do, the first board you create, it would give you an ability to create a default board. It would give you two labels, something like development review, something very similar to here. And you can start with a brand new board as suggested by GitLab. If you won't get a suggestion, I'm going to create a new board here. You'll get something like this. So open and closed category. Obviously, we don't have any issues in a closed category, but open contains all our issues, so all 21. The first thing you can do, you can actually rearrange the issues here, right here. That's kind of nice. So it has this weight feature. If you have an overwhelming number of labels, you can go and switch off labels as well, and just concentrate on tabs. And you can also add lists. So if I go back to my original board, which is a development, we have in development and in review. For some project, I have a development stage and production environment. So if I want to create all 3 environments, I can actually go and modify the label. Or I actually create the label from here. So you can say add list. If you didn't find something specific, you can click create project label from here. Select the blue color and say in stage. So it's selected in stage, and it added in stage automatically here. I can easily drag and drop in stage after in development. So, and before production, it will be in review. Obviously, because you have column, you can actually easily drag and drop specific issue. So if my website domain would be in stage or in review, I can drag and drop it here. I can click on the name of the task and go specifically to the task. And you can see that I actually moved it from in stage to in development. But if I'll go back to the board, I can actually, if you don't click on the title but click anywhere else, there is a side feature which gives you a quick access to a specific task on your right. This is where you can modify the time tracking, due date labels as well. So if you want to add something like documentation or infrastructure, here we go. Here's another label. So the next feature would be a search. So you can actually, on a specific board, same as in the list of issues, you can search specific tasks. So if I want to have a specific task with only specific label, I would say label equals, and then I'll go and click infrastructure. Enter, and now we can only see only infrastructure issues. Same, you can go and find the assignee equals myself. So I have only one task. For the paid feature, you would actually be able to save these filters, but quick tip, you can actually save this URL in a bookmark, and it will be the same as having saved filter here. So if you're using free version, you can still save because URL actually completely copies your filter. Now, from here, so let's set filter. Okay, here we are. So as you can see, most of our tasks are actually unlabeled. So this is another thing we can do here. So we can actually drag a lot of stuff to in development and get in development text straight away. So for example, if we go to the tasks here and drag a few issues here without assigning them. There we go. So they are in development. So if you click on a particular task, you can see the label is here. As you saw before, you can do it from the list as well. So you can click edit issues, select a particular task, assign a milestone, change the assignee, and even assign status. Like if you want to do a bulk closure of the task, you can do it from here as well. Let me cover a bit. So it doesn't matter what you run. So it can be a Kanban board or Scrum board. You can always, there are a few use cases for the board. So in this particular, this is a standard view. This is what I used to use on every project. So you have open issues, you have a particular stage of the development or release, and then you have a closed issues. But another way you can run a board, and I created the board called categories. So categories actually has backend development, configuration, DevOps. I also created the category, if you remember, called front-end development. So I click add list here and search for front-end development. Here, now I can quickly, if I just started the project, quickly resort the issues based on particular categories. Again, just before I'll show you the list, how it looks at the moment. So here's the list of issues. Most of the tasks don't have any labels. If I sit on the board here, and I have create categories, default content, I'll move it to configuration, project data structure, backend development, add project default content, configuration, create landing page. Let's say it's a front-end development. All the menus can go to front-end development. I'll probably move front-end development close here. So you got the idea. You can go and sort your tasks by a specific category. And then if you look at the refresh board, here you can see a lot of labels actually being added nice and quickly. So even, spending less than a couple of minutes, you can have all your projects ready here, and your board for development is ready to use. As I said before, you can go and create unlimited number of boards here. Again, this is was actually a quite recent change that before it used to be a paid feature. So now it moved to open source, so everyone can create multiple boards for a specific project. There is also a couple of other paid features. You can actually create the columns based on the user and based on milestones. So you can go to documentation and read more about those kind of use cases for the boards. So a few other things I wanted to cover. If you go to a specific issue, for example, add website domain, and this is feature probably more interesting for developers, but it's actually here for everyone. So you can use kind of select type tags. So you can add and remove different parameters for a specific task using slash. So here, for example, if you want to add due date, or if you want to mark it as a duplicate issue, you can do it by just saying due in 2 days, something like that. You can actually add label to the specific task. So if you want to go and say it's a backend development as well, you can do it here. What I usually use the slash type tags for is for actually estimating the issue. So if I estimated this issue will take me 3 hours, I can write estimate 3 hours. And if I spend already 1 hour by purchasing a domain and configuring the main servers, let's say that I spend 1 hour, click comment, and you can see the time tracking on the right-hand side updated, saying there you have 2 hours remaining. You already spent 1 hour, and you can also see that the backend development label was added, but it didn't reflect in the label. So if we'll refresh this particular page, we can see the backend development label was added here. So you can get a bit more creative with, like slashes here, but it's up for you there to explore. So there's a lot of stuff here. I'm not going to demonstrate the feature because it's very development related, but when you create a merge request for your code, you can actually specify in the description which issues it closed automatically. So once the merge request is closed, it can close a number of issues with some, which is also quite a nice feature. So I guess this is a quick overview of this issue section. So one last thing I have is a quick demo, actually a quick description of which new features are coming to core. So as I mentioned before, there are paid features for GitLab and then free features, and some of the paid features eventually making its way to become free features and making to open source. Few items I showed you today, like email, to this particular email to create an issue, and multiple GitLab boards for a project. They used to be paid features and actually became free features. So a couple of days ago, there was a blog post on GitLab that actually outlined 18 GitLab features that are moving to open source very, very soon. And there are 4 of them that are actually related to GitLab boards. So first one is related issues. So soon you will be able to say this issue related to this issue. Again, a lot of issue tracking systems do that. And if you're a paid member, you can do that in GitLab, but this one is actually going open source very soon. The second one, and this is one of my favorites, I guess, is exporting specific issues. So you can export issues in CSV. And that was a paid feature, and a lot of people could estimate tasks to the times there, but they couldn't export them. So from, I think, next release, you will be able to do that. And you can actually sort what you export in, including, issue-related tasks. So you can export it as a CSV and put it into, payment tracking system or time tracking system you use as well. It's nice. The third feature, which is kind of cool, it's called the focus mode. So you'll be able to click on the focus button, which is on the right-hand side, and expand the board to full screen. So you can actually see the overview of all your tasks. If you have a lot of them. And the last feature, which I actually just found out about, and new, it was there, it's called Service Desk. So soon you would be able to activate Service Desk, as you can see here, on your project, and you will be able to provide the clients with a specific email to send email to your Service Desk. So if your company or you have number of clients who are on support, maintenance contracts, they will be able to email your issues directly, and you can use GitLab also as your Service Desk. And that's going to come to the issues category. Okay, so quick summary of what we covered today. We go through GitLab boards and the different elements of them, including milestones, labels, and issues, and how you can search for them. We also covered the usage or different usage of the board, how you can have a different perspective on the project. And we also covered new features that are actually coming very, very soon to gitlab.com, or if you're using a standalone version, to your standalone version. So I put together a few links. I'll just give a couple of seconds for it to be on the video so people can go. So mostly they include different things, and including how GitLab designed the boards, which I found fascinating, and a couple of videos as well. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in chat. I'll just have a look at the.
Before we do questions, I was going to ask if we could all just unmute for a second and give Vlad a round of applause for that great presentation.
Thanks, Vlad.
Thanks for that, Vlad. It was, I felt a little kind of embarrassed when I started learning some new things about GitLab, issues and labels that, I wasn't even aware of. So really cool presentation. And yeah, if folks have questions, feel free to, ask Vlad. That would be a great time.
Sure. One more thing, if you have an idea of what would be useful for you for the next kind of non-technical presentation, just let me know, email me, or use Twitter, so I can actually start sourcing some material for the next presentation.
Yep, thanks. Great point.
Yeah, I think the video would be available. The question from Nick, the video is going to be available, so John is going to publish the video. I think we sorted all the publishing things, so as soon as John have time to edit it and upload it, it will be available for everyone to see.
Yeah, it's kind of getting late here in New York, so I'll probably do that tomorrow. All right, cool. So I'm not seeing any more questions. So what I think we'll do next is go out into our breakout groups. And this is just a chance for folks to kind of connect with other people in the community, get to know each other. Some of you lucky folks will be in the same room as Vlad. Some of the unlucky folks will be in the same room as me. But we'll, spend some time there. Please get to know each other. The Zoom is automatically going to kind of send you to the room. So you'll just need to, follow the prompts. And then when you're in the room, just introduce yourself, talk about, where you live, what attracted you to the meetup, what you like to do in your spare time, and just kind of get to know some of the other folks in the community. And then, we'll do that for about 10 minutes and then gather back quickly at the end. I'm going to stop the recording now, though, so that, everyone can feel comfortable that the conversations are, just private as they would be in, just any kind of other in-person event. So